Hey, it's Selena, and this is part 2 of the video tutorial I did on manifestation. And I'm doing part 2 because it occurred to me that this story I'm about to tell you is so perfect. So I am sitting here opposite the pond, which you can see, in my apartment. When I landed here, this is the ultimate story of manifestation for me that I want to share with you. When I landed in this building, it was, oh my goodness, about 7 years after my brain injury. And as you all know, I left Boston for New York after raising my kids for 15 years. And the day before, two days before my closing, a woman hit my car. And I was left with a severe brain injury that went on for 3 or 4 years before I was able to begin to rebuild my life, because my life was completely stopped and all my plans gone. And I didn't have a brain to figure anything out with. So I surrendered to Source. 4 years later, was able to start to completely rebuild my life from finances up, because I wasn't in a place that I was really financially secure with a big bank account when this happened, and everything went to pot. So, point being, I land in Arlington, where I live now, after moving several times, each place absolutely perfect for where and what I needed in my recovery. And when I landed in this building, I landed on the other side of the building. It's on what we would call the street side, but it's a parking lot downstairs. And then there's a walking path. So I was on the 5th floor, and my view, luckily, was not the parking lot. It was the trees in the sky. However, the parking lot is a very busy place. People here order a lot of different packages, and the building is very well maintained, which means there's always repair people around, people coming in and going out of the parking lot. And I'm a teacher of meditation, so it was kind of noisy for me. And I noticed that, but I was grateful to be here. Nice people, perfect location. Well, as I got to know my neighbors, I got to know my neighbors across the hall, and across the hall was the pond side. And each time I sat in a neighbor's apartment, I was enthralled, because the view is gorgeous. And each time I sat there, I also noticed how absolutely quiet it was. And so I knew I had to be on the pond side. And it became almost an obsession, where every day I would just ask Source and say, I could do a much better job for my clients if my apartment was quieter. I could live more comfortably. I could keep my windows open and get the fresh air in, which I love so much, if I was on the pond side, because I can't do that here. It's too noisy. My sense of peace would be greater on the pond side, because I'd be exposed to the water and to the birds. I'd go to sleep by the sound of ducks and geese. So what I did was exactly what I recommended to you in the last video. I took time every single day to visualize what my life would be like on the pond side. And I felt in my body the gratitude for the life on the pond side. Meanwhile, talking to my neighbors, trying to figure out how can I get to the pond side, I realized I'm a renter. I'm not a buyer anymore. I sold my house. I'm done with my owning days. I'm a renter. There's no rentals in this very small building. Nobody knew of a rental on this particular side. There are very few rentals in the building to begin with, let alone the pond side. So my neighbors told me, oh, chances aren't very good, Selena. There's nobody we know. But I did what I suggested you do in the last video. I not only spent time every day visualizing and feeling in my body what it would feel like to live on this side of the building, but I put the word out amongst all the neighbors I knew. Please keep your ear to the ground and let me know if anything pops up on the pond side. And about 6 months later, after visualizing it every single day, one of my neighbors said, wow, the corner apartment across from the hall from you on the 5th floor where I lived is going to be available. So I immediately contacted my neighbors, put a note on their door, And a month and a half later, I landed on the pond side. And it was manifested. It was created. Source gave me the pond side. After a lot of effort and a lot of attention, I landed on the pond side. And can I tell you, it is glorious. Sunsets every day. Geese and duck putting me to sleep. The calm of the water, watching the weather, watching the sky, being surrounded by nature is the gift that I manifested, not just asked for. I manifested with the universe. I had no timeline. I didn't care what the apartment looked like. It's a bigger apartment than I had, but I took it because it was pondside. So I hope, or it's my intention, that this story is just an example of putting your action and your attention on visualizing daily and feeling in your body that which you wish to happen. Imagining and feeling that imagination as if it already is. And then letting go of the timeline and the way it has to look. That's my pond story, and I'm sticking to it. Talk to you soon.